صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المأمونين صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة يا باب النجاة الأمة يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فلنفوز فوزا عظيما. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Inshallah, tonight I want to talk about dhulm or wrongdoing or oppression. And every night, inshallah, we'll take one riwayah from Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And we'll use this and we'll discuss about it, inshallah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
So, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he says, take care not to mistreat anyone who doesn't have any helper except but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we see in Quran that he says in Surah Hud, ayat 113, and do not incline towards those who are unjust, lest the fire touches you, and you have no guardian besides Allah, then you shall not be helped. So Allah tells us not to incline towards the unjust, the zalimeen. And this is sufficient to prove that it is forbidden to help the unjust in any sort of way, because just the slight inclination towards them is forbidden in Quran. Like Allah tells us not to say uff to our parents. So it shows that anything more than saying uff is definitely forbidden. So Allah tells us don't even incline towards the wrongdoers. And we know that helping them is the most we can do. The most is way more than just inclining towards them or leaning towards them. To help them is much greater than that. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
He said, if one knowingly goes to help an oppressor, he has apostatized from Islam. He has become kafir. He has left Islam. If he willingly goes to help an oppressor to oppress other people. So we shouldn't willingly aid oppressors with our deeds, with our wrong deeds. You know, we have to strive to help the oppressed people as much as we can. Whatever we have in our capability or our reach, we should help them. It says when we see wrong action, we should try to stop it with our hand. If we cannot stop it with our hand, we speak out against it with our tongue. If we cannot do that, the least in faith is at least to hate it in your heart. So we have to do something. What we can do in that moment, it depends on the situation, but we have to do at least one of these three. And this is exactly what Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam have taught us to do. We read in Ziyarat Ashura, it says, I disconnect all links with those who in the beginning took the first steps to oppress you. I take refuge with Allah and His Prophet, and I am free from the guilt of associating with those who laid the foundation for your suffering, established their foundations on it, and continued in wronging and persecuting you and your followers. In the presence of Allah and you, Ahlul Bayt, I disassociate from all of these people. And I seek nearness to Allah and then to you, all by means of declaring loyalty to you and to your loyalists, and disassociating from their enemies. And those who have animosity for you, and I disassociate from their adherents, from their followers. And verily I am at peace with those who are at peace with you, and I am at war with those who have fought against you. Don't we say, إِنِّي سِلْمٌ لَمَنْ سَلَمَكُمْ وَحَرْبٌ لَمَنْ حَارَبَكُمْ وَوَلِيٌّ لَمَنْ وَلَاكُمْ وَعَدُوٌ لَمَنْ عَادَاكُمْ. We have in Ziyarat Ashura all of the time. So Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam have taught us not to go towards the oppressors. When we see oppression, to distance ourselves away from it and stay on the side of truth. So it's obvious we shouldn't befriend people who are attacking us, who hate us, who are oppressing us, who openly wage war against Allah, His Prophet, and those who hate Ahlul Bayt, the Nawasib, for example. However, even though we shouldn't befriend these people, it doesn't mean that we should be unjust towards them. We still have to be just towards those people, even though they are wrongdoers. Just like we found Rasulullah sallallahu
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Just like we found Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam dealt with their enemies. It says in Quran, it's by Allah's mercy that you are gentle towards them. If you were harsh towards them, then they would have surely scattered away from you. If we want to spread true Islam, then we have to have good akhlaq with people. We have to strive our best to emulate the Holy Prophet and Imams alayhi salam the best of our abilities. We have to try to follow them. But in order to follow them, we have to know them. So we need to take some steps, learn about their lives, and then try to follow them in the best way that we can. Despite Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt being treated badly by many people, they always acted well with other people. They always treated other people kindly, even when they didn't deserve it. Some people, they are very rude, very mean. They don't deserve to be treated good in our eyes. But Ahlul Bayt still treated them good. And this is akhlaq that we get from Ahlul Bayt. Imam Rida alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Do good to all the people, whether they deserve it or not. Even if they don't deserve it, you yourself are deserving of doing good towards other people. Because we are the best, we follow the best example of mankind, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Years ago, when I get my mama, I'm having to go do tabligh. So I want some advice. So I asked different ulama, and once in Karbala, I asked Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Taqi al-Mudarrisi, give me some advice for doing tabligh when I go to America, for example. And he told me, some part of this advice, he told me to always behave good with other people and forgiving towards other people, no matter who they are. He said, it doesn't matter if they are Jews, if they are Christians, if they are Muslims, if they are non-Muslims, or even if they are criminals. Because he said they can always seek forgiveness from Allah, like in the example of Umar ibn Yazid al-Riyahi when he came to Imam Hussein. So this is what we have to do. Even in tabligh or dealing with people in general, we just have to be good towards them. When we are nice towards other people, they say, wow, this person, he's different than everybody else. Most people, they would have acted this way, but he didn't act that way. Or, and they look at, why is that? Then they ask you, every time they see something good in you, just attribute it back to Rasulullah. Because these people have had so much bombardment from the media that they have begun to hate the Prophet, but they know nothing about the Prophet. If they know the true life of Rasulullah, then they would love him and they would want to follow him. We see that Rasulullah was known as what? Rahmatan al-Alameen, mercy to the worlds. I remember a story that it said that a cat fell asleep on his sleeve, of the shirt. And in order not to disturb the cat, they said he took his off and slipped his arm out of it. So he left the sleeve and didn't even want to disturb the animals. This is our Prophet. Most of us can be honest, hit it and go, but this is Rahmatan al-Alameen to insan and also to animals, subhanAllah. They weren't harsh with people. They didn't push people away. They weren't rude with people. Allah says, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Indeed, you are on the best of morality, the best character. Many times when the Prophet would walk from his house towards the Kaaba, there was this lady. Imagine there's a building above and a window, and there's this old lady, and she is always bothering the Prophet, throwing trash out of the window at Rasulullah all of the time. Every time he walks to masjid, she's throwing trash on him, but he doesn't get annoyed. He doesn't get upset. upset. He doesn't get angry. This is just regular day on the way to masjid. He is expecting this lady to do this. So one day he's passing by, and the lady wasn't there to throw the trash. He's expecting, okay, when we get to this point, I need to watch out. You know, something maybe is going to fly out of the window. He doesn't notice it. So he says, what is going on? So he knocks on the door of that house. And he asks if, you know, the lady is there. And they said, yes, she is upstairs, but she is sick. You know, she's not well. Rasulullah, he didn't say, you know, alhamdulillah, she is finished. She is, you know, she is dying and he's happy about it. No, he says, I want to go check on her. Can I visit her? So they said, okay, we allowed her to visit her. So when he came into the house, the lady said, oh, now you came to get me. Now you came to kill me because I'm weak and I can't defend myself. Well, he said, no, I just wanted to come visit you. I wanted to see how you're doing, just to check on you, make sure you're all right. And this example of Prophet moved her so much that she accepted Islam as true religion. She became a follower of the Prophet due to his akhlaq. This is how we have to be with people. When we are like this with other people, many people will come towards Islam because they don't have any compass. They don't have any ahkam, no rulings, they just go with whatever makes them feel good. They don't have a book that they are following. Most people, even if they say they have a book, they're not following the book. They just say, okay, I feel like this is okay. I feel like that is not okay. You know, they're just doing whatever they want to. But when they see that we have this type of code of conduct, so many riwayat about akhlaq and all of these things, people will love it and they will come and be attracted to this. So we should respect everyone. We have to give everyone their rights for what is due to them. We should never be oppressive towards other people or mistreat people. Allah says in Quran, and whoever exceeds the limits of Allah, these are the ones that are unjust. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 229. This injustice also applies not just to other people, but against our own self. He says in Surah Al-Fatir, ayat 39, and therefore whoever disbelieves, his disbelief is against his own self. We can oppress our own self. Sometimes we can go from being oppressed to becoming the oppressor. SubhanAllah, how is that? How can we go from being oppressed to becoming the oppressor? For example, someone backbites against you. They told one other person, maybe 1 or 2 people, they said something you didn't like. They backbite. Now, you found out they did riba against you. What do? You go to the whole assembly, 100 people, and you start backbiting against that person. You went from being oppressed, now you are oppressing them. You're doing more than they did to you. And you become from oppressed to becoming the oppressor. So we have to be careful how we deal with other people, how we react to other people. There's all types of oppression. There's insulting, there is abusing, there's putting people down, there's imprisoning people, there's backbiting, there's falsely accusing other people, hurting other people, whether physically, emotionally. All of these things are types of oppression. Taking someone's property without returning it to them, or not to return the rights to their owners. We see this happening in this day and age where people are taking the rights of people in Palestine. They're stealing their land and building settlements and these types of things. It's type of dhulm. Another type of way is to usurp or take away, forcefully and occupy a position that doesn't belong to you. And the supreme example of this is what happened, the injustice that happened to Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam when they usurped the position of the hukumat of Ahlul Bayt, the government of Ahlul Bayt. They cannot take the imamat, they cannot take walayat, but they took the hukumat, the government from Ahlul Bayt, and they came and they sat in their position. We see that, for example, Imam Hassan alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
They spoke out against them, asked them, what are you doing sitting on the minbar of my grandfather, Rasulullah? They come and they sat in a place that wasn't for them. And when we look through the pages of history, when we analyze the life of the first Khulafa, we see much corruption, much oppression that happened towards Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And to the Muslim community in general, when we look at it, how could we accept this injustice? The problem is, most of the general population, they don't know about this injustice. So we thinking in our mind, they know about it and they accept it, but this is a rare case. Most of the time, people don't know what happened. You tell them about the Battle of Jamal, they have no idea that, Imam Ali alayhi salam and Aisha fought a battle. They have no idea. They don't know these things. But when they know them, most of them would accept and come towards the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And we see that they committed many injustices during those times. Yet, in contrast, when you look at Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
In Najib al-Balagha, he says, by Allah, if I were given the 7 heavens and the 7 earths and everything that is in it in order to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by even taking the husk of a grain of barley from an ant, I wouldn't do it. Subhanallah. This is our Imam. One time a candle was burning by his side and he was writing down the things dealing with government, with expenses of treasury, Baytul Mal, and then Talha and Zubair, they came in. And when they wanted to get some positions from Imam Ali alayhi salam, and then they would say that, we won't fight you, we'll come to your side and we will agree with you. Just give us, this governor position or this thing or that thing. So, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he knows what's going on. So when they came in, Imam put out that candle and he took another candle and lit it. This is very strange. Why did you do that? He said, well, I'm writing with this candle is bought from Baytul Mal, from the money from the Muslims. So as long as I'm working for Muslims, I'm going to use this candle. You too, you came on some personal business. You want something else. So when they saw that, they knew that whatever they wanted to achieve, they couldn't do it. So they left. Because Imam Ali alayhi salam is beacon of justice. Sallu ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Hussein alayhi salam said the company and social interaction with people committing transgression, it causes blame and incredibility. When someone deals with oppressors, it causes people to doubt them. What is their character? Why are they dealing with oppressive people, bothering other people? Why are they always around wrongdoers? And there's an interesting point for this that when dealing with oppressors, one of the companions of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
His name was Safwan. He was companion of 6th Imam and 7th Imam. So one day Imam called and said to him, he said, Safwan, every action of yours has a lot of merit except one thing. So he said, may I be sacrificed for you? What is that one action that is, holding me up? If something is blocking me. Imam says, all my deeds are good but one. So I need to know what that is so I can change it. So he said that you hire your camels to Harun al-Rashid. He used to lend out the camels. Like someone today is renting out cars or something like this. So he gave his camels to Harun al-Rashid. He said, Imam, I don't give them for hunting or for games or something like this, but I only give them to him when he goes to Hajj. And I don't serve him myself. I send my servants, my workers, they are going and serving him. And they accompany him on this journey. So Imam asked him, do you, take the money in advance or do you take the money, the payment when they return? He said, I take it when they get back. So he said, do you carry the hope with you that they return safely from their journey so that they can pay you? Of course, yes. Imam said, whoever wishes for the oppressors to remain alive is like them and is connected with them, and they will go to Jahannam because of this. Safwan said when he heard this, he sold all of his camels. He got rid of everything. He left the whole business alone. It's not easy for one to give up his biggest business, investment that he has. His account is very difficult. Imagine someone has a government contract with the President of the United States, for example. It's a multi-million-dollar contract. And Imam says this contract is not good for you. Maybe it's hard for someone to give that up and then leave everything. And maybe he doesn't know where his income is coming from. But when we have submission to Imam, we have taslim, it will be easy for us. And we have to choose their path, even if it's a difficult path. Imam says, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
one who likes the oppressors to continue to live, then he likes the disobedience of Allah to continue on this earth. So we have to strive to eliminate dhulm or oppression wherever we can. And this is highly encouraged. We see from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he says, one who removes an anguish and sorrow of a believer, Allah will grant him deliverance from the sorrows and the miseries of this dunya and akhirah. So someone is suffering, we should try to remove that suffering from them. And we can tell the importance of this, of helping other people, by the story of our second Imam, Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
One day he was in the state of ihtikaf, and then one of the companions was sitting with him in the assembly of Imam Hassan. Someone came in and said, Ya Rasulullah, I am indebted to so-and-so. I owe this person a lot of money, maybe he wants to take me to the jail. Imam said, I don't have any money to repay your debt right now. But he said, maybe you can speak to him, you can talk to him, he'll listen to you, you're the grandson of Prophet. So Imam Hassan alayhi salam got up and put his shoes on and was going. He was going to leave, but you cannot leave when you're in ihtikaf. So he said, maybe you forgot, Ya Rasulullah, you're in ihtikaf, you can't leave. He said, I didn't forget, I was in ihtikaf. But I heard my father quoting Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who said, one who tries to fulfill the need of a believer, it is as if he has fasted for 9,000 years and he has prayed during all of those nights. So we see that helping someone who is in need has such a high status that it is even willing to a more pressing need that the person could leave ihtikaf to go do that. It's also haram to help an oppressor who is oppressing, maybe he's not oppressing someone else, but he's oppressing his own self. He is unjust towards his own self. Don't we say in Dua Kamil, Dhalamtu nafsi, Dhalamtu nafsi. I have wronged myself. So someone who is wronging himself, it's also haram to help them. For example, someone, he is leaving salat, he is avoiding fasting, he is drinking wine, he is committing zina, he is doing gambling, etc., etc., etc. Every type of sinner, they are unjust to themselves. They are wronging their own self. So we can't help them to wrong their own self. One who helps a person to wrong his own self, then in this way, he's becoming a partner in that sin. Allah says, help one another in goodness and piety, and don't help one another in sin and transgression. Be careful to your duty to Allah, and Allah is severe in requiting evil. So we shouldn't help people by, for example, if we know we give this money to this person, maybe they will buy alcohol, maybe they will buy drugs, maybe they will do something to wrong their own self. This is a type of aiding someone and oppressing. They are oppressing their own self. Sallu ala Muhammad. So there are different types of oppression, wronging other people and wronging our own self. And we always have to take hisab or account of our own self. Every day we should examine what we have done. Was it pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or was it not? Would Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam be pleased with our actions or not? And we have to know that they actually do see our actions. Many may think, how come they see our actions? And we see that in the presence of our sixth Imam. Our Imam told people, don't annoy the Prophet. They said, how can we annoy the Prophet? Prophet is a long time past, He said, don't you know that your deeds are reported to the Prophet? Whenever he observes a sin, he becomes upset. He becomes saddened. He gets grief. He becomes displeased. Therefore, don't hurt the Prophet. And instead make him pleased, meaning when he sees us do good actions, like we come into Majlis tonight, Rasulullah would see this and become pleased by this action. So we have to be careful, how we utilize our time, how we think about our life. If we think in this way with Allah, with prophets, with Ahlul Bayt, be pleased with our actions when they're looking at them or not. Before we do everything, we'll be very pious and very mindful, and we have to seek Allah's forgiveness constantly. There's one companion of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
He had a cousin from Ahlul Sunnah, but he had a bad relationship with this cousin. This companion of Imam was named Dawood. Dawood wanted to go to Hajj, but his cousin was the Sunni. He had some needs he needs to fulfill for his family, for some loans, maybe something. He needed some money for his daily needs. This companion, Dawood, said, even though he is bad with me, I'm going to give him some money, and I'm not going to tell anybody about it. Afterwards, Dawood, he went to go visit Imam. So he went to Imam Sadiq, and before he started speaking anything, the Imam said to him, Dawood, what you did for your cousin made me very happy, the action that you did. So Dawood said, what are you talking about, Imam? Like, what is it? He said, you gave some money to your cousin, and it made me very happy, and it shows that you are a good person. Dawood said, how do you know about this? I didn't tell anybody about this. I didn't even tell my own wife I gave this person some money. How do you know about this? Imam said, don't you know that all of your deeds and your actions are reported to the Imam of the time from Allah on Mondays and Thursdays? Subhanallah. So they know what we are doing, and they're aware of our situation. And if we want to make a positive change in society, it all comes from us. It starts with us. We have to take more time to learn about these great guides that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to us, Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. We have to do more than just reading the riwayat. We have to implement those teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam in our lives. Once we do this, we'll start affecting those people around us. Once they, see our actions, they'll become inspired by whatever we are doing, and they will come towards us and want to know how come we are like that. Why do we, they want to learn what we are doing. And this could help make a better society, all from just with us. And we never know how our actions are affecting other people. We may think that we are not making a difference, we are not doing anything, but we don't know what is really happening. A lot of times people are watching us and we don't even know that they are watching us. And they get inspired by us to make a change in themselves. I'll give you one example. When I first moved to DC a long time ago, my friend gave me a job. And one of the guys, they were all Muslims. One of the guys, he's training me. He's from East Africa. So he's training me how to do my job, my route. I need to pick up this person, that person, And these guys, after work, they won't do anything. They will just eat and play video games. And, everyone's in their 20s. They don't care. Salat is coming and going. But I'm always going and praying, making salat. And I stopped whatever we were talking. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pray. And they watch me pray, but they're not praying. Over time, this guy started to think to himself, because I never push it on them. I never bother them with this, They pray, they don't pray, okay. I told them before, they don't do it, I have to, whatever. So one day he told me, he said, I started to think to myself, how come this American guy is here and he is praying salah, he is fasting, he is reading Quran, and all I'm doing is over here is playing video games and working and not doing anything with my life. He said, I should be praying. I come from, a land where they make salat and all of these things. So he started changing. The next year, when I saw him, he said, I'm fasting this Ramadan. I'm going to pray in the masjid. I started reading Quran. He started bringing it with him in the van. I didn't know I'm affecting at all. He said, because I was watching you were praying, it made me think I want to pray. So sometimes you are doing something, other people are watching you, but you don't know how you are affecting other people. So we have to always be doing good, so when people see us, they also want to do good. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. So when it comes to oppression, we have to stand up against every sort of oppression, whether it be against what we see against others or what we, sometimes we see injustice in our own self. And this is harder than the first one. A lot of times we are speaking out against other people, but when it comes to us, we are not doing anything with us. We say, okay, we're going to do resistance and we're going to be against these people who are doing wrong, but we are not resisting ourselves, our own nafs. We have to do jihad al-nafs. When we have something bad come up inside of us, we need to resist that and fight against that. And inshallah, it's very difficult, but it can be achieved. So Allah says, O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it is against your own self, even if it is against your own parents and relatives, whether they are rich or poor. Imagine we have to stand up against injustice. Allah told us, even if it is against our own parents. So oftentimes we find ourselves speaking against others, but when it comes to ourselves or our family, we are not doing it. We have to be, as Allah said, and stand for justice. And the ultimate solution to remove all the injustice in this earth is the return of Imam Mahdi, as Allah Ta'ala. The narrations say that he is the one that will bring justice to this earth. So this implies that before his return, the earth is going to have a lot of injustice. And we have to constantly work and pray constantly for the return of the Imam. We have to always say, Allahumma ajjal waliyaka al-faraj. And we have to pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the reappearance of the Imam, to remove this injustice and remove this oppression. Our sixth Imam, he said, to save yourself from sorrow and unhappiness, pray and request from Allah the Merciful. He will make you free from all the troubles, and our last Imam, Imam Mahdi, will appear soon.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
He said, if you don't do this, you don't pray for the dhuhr of Imam, then the difficulties will continue to increase. And we have to remember the Imam of our time and know that he is also oppressed. Unfortunately, he is mostly oppressed by us. We have to ask ourselves, are we good servants to our master or not? Or do we cause him trouble? Or do we cause him grief when he looks at our deeds? It's narrated, the famous narration, everyone knows that we benefit from the Imam like the sun behind the clouds. But what is separating us from this bright sun? It's these clouds, and these clouds are like the sins that we have. The sins, the wrongdoing that we are committing. We have to remove these from our life. Stop oppressing other people. Stop wronging our own self. And we have to pray for the reappearance of the Imam. Imagine if we oppress someone who we feel is insignificant, for example, yet this person was a close servant of the Imam. Imagine that. Imagine oppressing the Imam himself. This has happened before. When someone oppressed someone, they didn't know he was companion of the Imam. One day, Malik al-Ashkar, the fierce warrior, the one whom Imam Ali alayhi salam said, he is to me like I was to Rasulullah. He is so brave. He's walking through the market in Kufa. One of these shopkeepers wants to play a joke. He is bored. So he takes something and he throws it at him. He doesn't know who he is. All the people are shocked. Oh my God, why did you do that? Do you know who that is? Malik didn't do anything. He kept going. They said, no, it's just someone who's walking by like everybody else. He said, no, this is the chief of Imam's army. This is Malik al-Ashkar. People run from him. They are afraid of him. If the lion faces him, he is going to run away from him. So he couldn't believe it. So he started to go try to find him. He couldn't find him. He got lost in the crowd. He kept asking and asking to find where he was. Finally, he said that he went into the masjid. So he went into the masjid. He saw Malik al-Ashtar making salah. So he waited for him. When it was over, he went and he wanted to kiss the feet of Malik al-Ashtar. He pushed him away. What is wrong? What is going on? He's afraid that he's going to punish him. So he said, I want to seek forgiveness. I did something silly. I shouldn't have done that to you. And he says, I'm the one who threw something at you. Just please forgive me. So Malik Ashtar, he said, don't worry, it's not a problem. I didn't even worry about it. Actually, I came to this masjid to ask forgiveness for you. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive for you. And I have no hatred in my heart for you. Subhanallah. This is Malik Ashtar. And we have to be careful not to wrong other people. It's bad enough to wrong others, but imagining wronging someone like this who's a close follower of our Imam. Or imagine someone even wronging the Imam himself or being rude to the Imam himself. Our Imam interacts with society. He is not missing somewhere in a cave or something. He is interacting with society. But we don't recognize him. But he recognizes us. It is like the brothers of Yusuf. They didn't recognize Yusuf, but Yusuf recognized him. Imagine we see our Imam and we don't know it and we are rude to them. SubhanAllah. How bad would that be? So we have to be careful who we are dealing with, how we are treating them. The Prophet, he says, sallallahu alayhi wa he said, a Muslim is one who other people are safe from his tongue and from his hand. So we have to be mindful how we are dealing with everyone. Be careful not to wrong anyone, even if they seem that they are nobody. Maybe they don't have a job or they are poor, but they are great in the sight of the Imam. Maybe they are close to the path of Ahlul Bayt. So we have to be careful. One of the things that I was asked before we end is one of the Mujtahideen, the Sayyid in Najaf, he came to our room in the house and he sat and talked with me a long time. I wrote many things from him. And one of the things he told me, he said, Imam Zaman Ajallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif is waiting on 313 pious individuals to come. Very good, close people to Imam. He said to me, imagine if the number was 312 right now. What is stopping you from being the 313th so the Imam can come? SubhanAllah. Imagine if we are all thinking like this. If we are thinking like this, we will stop wronging other people. We will stop wronging our own self. We will just be concerned with what is really important, with what is akhir. Sallu ala Muhammad. One of those who stood up against the oppression of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam was the friend of Imam Hussein, Habib ibn Madahir. He didn't know where Imam Hussein was, but one day he got a letter from Imam Hussein. It showed up at his doorstep. So at that time he's having breakfast with his wife and his young son. And Habib read the letter from Imam. He started getting tears in his eyes and he kissed this letter from Abu Abdullah. His wife was like, what is wrong? Who wrote you? He said, I received a letter from my master, Sayyidi Abu Abdullah Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He asked me to join him in Karbala. He said, Yazid's soldiers have surrounded the Imam and they are after his life. Habib's wife, she said, Habib, your childhood friend has called you, your master has called you, your Imam has called you. What are you still doing here at breakfast? Go. Your master needs your help. Go before it's too late. Habib was worried about how he would escape from Kufa without being seen. So he told his servant to take his horse to the outskirts of Kufa. Wait for him there. Habib took his horse there. He took Habib's horse there and he waited for him. Habib took a while, so the servant started to get worried. He said, oh horse, our master Imam Hussein is in trouble. He needs our help. He asked Habib to join him, but Habib is late. Oh horse, if he doesn't manage to come, I will ride on you to Kufa and I will go to Hussein's help. At Asr time, most of the people were in the masjid, so Habib managed to sneak out and go to the farm. He quickly got on his horse and he told his servant, go, I'm freeing you. The servant said, Ya Sayyidi, oh my master, you're not being fair to me. I have served you all of these years faithfully. Now I have a chance to serve the son of Sayyida Zahra. You're asking me to go? Why are you denying me my place in the Jannah? Habib was shocked at these words. He was so happy that his servant recognized the difference between haq and batil. He wanted to sacrifice his life for the truth. Habib told his servant, go ahead and get on the horse. Let's ride to Karbala. Habib reached Karbala where Imam Hussein alayhi salam greeted his friend. Sayyida Zainab heard that Habib had came to Karbala. She asked her maid Fidda, send greetings to Habib from me. When he heard that Sayyida Zainab had sent greetings to him, he started crying in grief. He threw his amama on the ground. He slapped his face. Tears were rolling down his cheeks. He said, what a sad day. What has happened to the household of Sayyida Zahra, Sayyida Nisa al-Alameen? Ya Yazid, old tyrant, what have you done to the household of Fatima? On the day of Ashura, at the dawn, Ali Akbar came out into the battlefield. He called Adhan for last time. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Yazid's soldiers started blowing the trumpets for the battle. Habib ibn Madahir came to Imam Hussein. He said, Ya Sayyidi, Ya Abu Abdullah, allow me to go to the battlefield. Let me sacrifice my life for you. Hussein, Habib, my childhood friend, stay with me. You are giving me comfort by being here. Habib said, please just let me go. Eventually, Imam Hussein gave him permission to go. He helped his friend onto the horse for the last time, saying bye to his friend. How hard that must be to say goodbye, knowing it's the final one. Habib ibn Madahir, he rode into the battlefield. He fought bravely, but eventually he was overpowered by the enemies. He fell to the ground. As Habib fell, the enemy soldier came over and cut off the head of Habib ibn Madahir. All the martyrs of Karbala were beheaded, but Habib's was the first to be cut off. Habib's head wasn't mounted on the spears like the other shuhada. Ya Allah, Habib's head was tied to a horse. They pulled his head on the ground of Karbala. Ya Allah. Later on in Sham, Habib's head was tied to the neck of a horse. A young boy named Qasim was following this horse wherever it went. One day he was riding the horse, this man, and he asked this young boy, why are you following me around? What do you want from me? Qasim just looked at the head hanging from the horse's neck. The man asked again, why are you staring at this head? He said, this is the head of my father, Habib ibn Madahir. Please give me the head back so that I can bury my father's head. Habib's head seemed to look at his son and say, Ya, my Qasim, oh my Qasim, you are thinking of burying my head. But what about the head of Imam Hussein on top of the spear? Wa Husseina, wa wayla, wa musibata. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Assalamu alayka ya وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بكيت وبكي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزياراتكم. All together, السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد